Double taps are one of the most difficult shots to save in Rocket League, if executed correctly. As a mediocre defender, I always dread trying to save these damn things. Hey, I'm Jack, your friendly neighbourhood Rocket League player who strives to help players improve bit by bit, while also keeping sane along the way. In today's video, I'm going to share how I managed to improve my double taps in Rocket League. Let's get into it. Double taps are arguably one of the most satisfying shots to pull off in a game. There are a variety of ways that you can set up double taps too, and you can actually pull off some pretty insane angles. I mean, I see a ton when scrolling through both YouTube and TikTok, but it's got me thinking, why are double taps so powerful though? I mean, they aren't even the fastest shot in the game either, so what gives, Jack? Well, let's take a look at it from a defender's point of view. Despite being a physics-based game, you can move your car relatively easy in Rocket League, whether that's from side to side or tilting your car up and down when going for an aerial. But if we find ourselves stuck in our goals in a stationary position, all we are left with is our vision, and there's only so far we can peep up at our screen with our point of view. Unlike power shots that are relatively easy to save, double taps usually come from above your head. In a way, you almost have to predict where your opponent is going to place that shot when executing a double tap. It's why you often see people rush and try to challenge the ball early in order to prevent their opponents from setting up the double tap in the first place. When under attack, it can be very difficult to save a double tap purely because of our limited vision we have, unless we can predict where the ball will be placed or are lucky enough to challenge the ball early. I can state this case further by using RLCS for an example. To this day, players are still managing to catch defenders off guard by going for double taps. They also tend to feature quite regularly in the goals of the week. RLCS was also the first time I'd ever seen a double tap pulled off back in 2016. Back then, double taps were a god level mechanic that only few had really mastered. I remember watching players like Devo really begin to incorporate double taps into their playstyle and feature prominently when it came to the World Championships. It wasn't until I was watching RLCS on a weekly basis when I decided I wanted to learn how to double tap. Back then, I was an Xbox player playing on an ancient TV, so I was technically handicapped to begin with, but that didn't stop me. My double tap journey first started in late 2016, where at the time I had the car control of a newborn child first learning to walk. Times were tough back then. Rocket League had just released custom training in December, and everyone now had the opportunity to dedicate the time to training one individual mechanic. Of course, double taps were my choice of poison. It was a fresh and exciting way to train them too. If I made a mistake, I could easily just reset the shot and try it again. And now we look to today where you can actually mirror the same shot to ensure you're training double taps on both sides of the field. The biggest dilemma I first faced was actually trying to perfect the first touch. My car would always recoil and flail to the ground before I could even manage to go for the second touch. But as time went on, I learned that if I held my air roll button down, it kind of cushioned the recoil, allowing me to follow up with another touch to send the ball towards the wall. The next dilemma on my journey was now trying to control where I wanted to place the ball on the backboard. I'd either flip too late or smack the ball straight into the ceiling. Over the course of many training sessions, I started to get the hang of timing my flips and how to hit the ball correctly. Like any mechanic, there are so many micro movements that go into executing a double tap correctly. Finally, it was now learning how to position my car to deflect the ball into the goal. Hitting the ball into the backboard was one thing, but man, trying to twist and turn my car while focusing on the ball was another beast to deal with. It actually wasn't until late 2019 where one simple change I made drastically improved my ability to double tap. That was adding air roll left to my controller. The ability to tornado spin somehow clicked easier in my brain than the standard way to air roll. Don't ask me how. But as I started to really learn air roll left, I was starting to get some pretty insane angles with my double taps. Overall, I just found it so much easier. Okay, so I've given you my journey on how I started to improve at my double taps, but how did I actually go about improving them? Two things: doing a ton of custom training packs and failing many attempts at double taps in casual matches. My go-to custom training pack for training my double taps was the Devo training pack created by Torsos. This is hands down the training pack I spent the most time in my entire Rocket League career. The second custom training pack was the Ultimate Warm-Up by Hinata. This seems like your everyday kind of training pack, but I got this tip from watching a Leathermere video a while ago where you use the training pack in a different way than it is intended for. This pack here is to improve your aerial shots. However, Leth went on to show how you can turn this into a double tap training pack. No kidding here, I saw a dramatic improvement in my double taps just from using this pack to train them. Lastly, it was simply trying to go for double taps when playing casual. I used to queue with a couple buddies who were amazing at double taps, and it kind of inspired me to continue practicing them. We'd queue up in a threes casual match together and just practice them for hours on end. The best parts about practicing double taps in a casual environment was having no pressure when going for them and failing. And also, it taught me how I needed to conserve my boost in order to pull one off. Just drilling this into my brain has allowed me to subconsciously gauge whether or not I have enough boost to go for them in my games to date. I know this probably sounds redundant and boring, but practice really does make perfect. It's really taken me a lot of hours to really master the craft of double taps, and I'm by no means a master to this day still. But hey, it's one of my favourite shots to go for, and it's just so satisfying when I'm able to actually execute one in game. Okay, I've rambled on for quite a while now about how I improved my double taps in Rocket League. Let's see what my double taps look like today. So there's my little story on how I managed to improve my double taps in Rocket League. To this day, I still find these more satisfying than pulling off a flip reset. Well, you're still here with me, why not check out another cheeky video? I promise I won't tell anyone. I'm Jack, and I'll see you next time. Catch ya.